Well, hello Rockhounds, Lapidary lovers. Mike here. Welcome back to my channel. Sorry for the harsh lighting. It's early in the morning. I'm getting an early start today. And we're over at the tumbling station. And we're going to do something a little different today. This 12-pound tumbler back here, I always have rough rocks in it. That's every rough rock I get goes through that 12-pound tumbler. And they stay in there until they're nice and smooth. And they'll go to one of the other tumblers to get finished. And today we're going to clean out the 12-pound tumbler there and look at the rough rock in there. And there are a few rocks in there I am especially interested in seeing how they're doing. And I think you'll be interested in this too. So don't tune out if you've seen me do one of my rough tumbler cleanouts before. Because the rocks aren't that pretty yet. They're only in rough. But there are a few rocks in there I'm super interested in how they're doing. And I want to see how they've changed since I put them in. And I think we've got one really glaring example of how much rocks will change when you tumble them. Because I've got an agate I cut in half. One half I face polished, one half I threw in the tumbler. And I think you're going to be very interested in seeing the difference between them now. Because I was shocked when I looked in there last week. Every week I clean out this tumbler and decide, you know, what needs to stay longer and what's done. So this week, we're going to look at that half agate and some other stuff I've got in there that I'm very interested in that I found during rockhounding. I want to see how it's coming along. And just generally have a look at what's going on in the tumbler. So I will do my usual thing. I will take the drum off the tumbler. I will dump it out, rinse everything off, and I'll meet you over at the workbench and we'll look at them under the lights and see what we got going on in there. All right, so here's the rocks after getting them out of the tumbler drum and rinsing them off. I'm going to keep them wet. For anybody who hasn't seen one of my sorting videos before, I sort the rocks coming out of rough, and if I don't feel like they're smoothed out enough, they go right back into the tumbler drum over here. And if they are smoothed out enough, they go into a bucket of water over here to stay wet until I can get them through an ultrasonic cleaner. So that's the way I do the sorting. That's the way you get good, smooth rocks. Now you go out and you buy a rock tumbler, it's going to come with instructions. The instructions will say, put your rocks in, put your coarse grit in, and run it for X amount of time, say 2 weeks, just off the top of my head. And then you can go to the finer grits. No, that's not the way it works if you want pretty rocks. You got to leave them in rough for however long it takes. It could take 2 weeks, it could take 4 weeks, it could take 8 weeks, it could take months and months to smooth out some rocks. Really hard ones, you know? And then once they're good and smooth, then you go to the finer grits, okay? That's the way it works. So just, you know, if you go out and buy a rock tumbler, you want to do what I'm doing, first thing you need to do is just throw the instruction booklet away, pretty much. At least the section that tells you how to run it. Maybe keep any maintenance, you know, information, or warranty information, but just throw out the directions on how to run it because you're not going to be happy. So what do we got in here? We got a lot of rocks from previous cutting videos and a lot of other rocks from rockhounding videos and whatnot. And they've all been tumbling for various periods of time. Some of these only went in last week. I do this every week. Some have been in here for many weeks. Some have been in here for months. So we're going to sort through them and decide which ones are ready to move forward, okay? So here's a piece of rock from a cutting video that only came out, I think, last week. And, yeah, it's not ready to move forward yet. It's still very rough. So that's going back in the tumbler drum. Here's another one from that cutting video last week. I'll put a link to that video in the upper right. Some tiger's eye. This is the heel piece of some tiger's eye I was cutting. I cut a bunch of slabs off of it. Beautiful, beautiful tiger's eye. It's smoothing out very quickly, but I think it needs to go another week. The edges are kind of rough on it, so we'll let it go another week. Same cutting video. Some pieces of Moroccan agate in here. I was very disappointed with this Moroccan agate. It was all broken up, so I decided to tumble some of the pieces. So they're coming along, but again, they're not quite ready. They've only been in here for about a week. Some banded iron formation. This has been in here a few weeks, but this is amongst the hardest rocks I tumble. So this is coming along, but it needs a little more time. Ooh, some sort of very mossy agate or Jasper agate here. I don't even remember where I got that. It's getting close, but it needs to go a little while longer. Some more banded iron or banded Jasper. I think it's red banded Jasper. That needs to go longer. There's some petrified wood from Arizona. I think that one's probably ready to go. It's got a few deep pits in it, but I'm never going to get rid of those without ruining the whole rock, just running it until it's gone. Okay? Here's a rock I'm very interested in. This is one of the rocks I wanted to see how it was turning out in this batch. This is a big Montana moss agate. Got it from my buddy Jim. It says it looks like it's either been cut or a weird fracture on this side. He said it was partially tumbled. Well, I am going to completely tumble it because I am just in love with the moss on this side of this agate. That is just amazing. So this has been in rough grit for a couple of weeks now. It's still got some areas that need to smooth out a little better. The moss still looks like it's deep enough in there that I'm not going to lose it. So that can go in there for a few more weeks. That was one of the ones I really wanted to have a look at. Let's see. Here's another one that I really wanted to have a look at. This is a piece of petrified wood. I got it at a rock shop in Holbrook. And it's absolutely gorgeous. And it is tumbling nicely. It's coming along. Yeah, Holbrook, Arizona. Petrified wood up there. It still needs a little more time, but it is coming along. Now, here's one of the rocks that I was teasing you with at the beginning. All right. This is one right here. I want to show you the other half of this. Take a look at this. I hope the blue color is coming through. Okay. And, you know, it's coming along. I think it's probably about ready to move forward because it's got some deep pits, but those are never going to go away unless I really destroy the rock in here. But let me show you the other half of it. Show you the contrast. Here's the other half of the rock. I face polished it, nice and shiny. See that? It's a little agate I cut in a previous cutting video. Look at the rind on it. Kind of brown. You can see flashes of blue here and there where the rind is kind of knocked away. But I mean, look at the contrast between them now that this one's been tumbled. That shows you how much the agates can change just by tumbling off the rind on them. That's amazing. So I'm going to move this one forward because I think it's ready. So I'm going to put it over here in this bucket of water. And we'll have a good contrast between this side and this side here once it comes out of fine polishing in the tumbler. You'd have a hard time believing that they're the same agate, except they're going to have the exact same mirror image patterns on their faces. The piece of sea maggot, mossy sea maggot, my buddy Jim sent me, and I cut this up in a previous cutting video. This is the heel, so I decided to throw it in the tumbler. It needs to go a little while longer. I can still feel how rough it is, so it needs to go a little while longer. Some very colorful banded iron here. It's a heavy rock, too. That's going to be gorgeous when it's done, but it's not quite ready to move forward. It needs to go back in the drum over there for some more time. This is petrified wood. Petrified wood, that's what this is. Not quite ready. Very rough right there. So that's going to go back in the drum. Some more water on here. A lot of these rocks I found myself rockhounding, and this is one of them. This is some very colorful red, yellow, orange Jasper. Found this in Arizona. It's not quite ready. It's very rough here, very rough here. Otherwise, it's looking pretty good. So maybe a couple more weeks in the rough drum, and it will be ready. Now, speaking of rockhounding in Arizona, here's one And here's one. Here are two other rocks that I really wanted to have a look at, see how they're doing. They might have been one rock at one time in the past. I found them a couple feet apart. They're almost identical in color and texture. So I assume they might have been one rock at one time. Again, this is petrified wood. It's been agatized, fully silicified. And it's got some moss in it. It's got wood grain in it still. You can see it. And I think when these are finally done, they're going to be gorgeous. These have been in here for about a month. And I don't think they're done yet. That one's still got a lot of really rough spots on it. So that's going back in. And this one, yeah, this one needs some more time too. But they're going to be gorgeous when they're finally done. But speaking of gorgeous petrified wood, check that out. Oh yeah, there's the money side. Look at that. Yeah, this is some Arizona rainbow petrified wood. Did I find this? Yes, I found this when I was rockhounding out there. That's right. That's where I got this one. It's got some cracks in it. This side's very rough and cracked. I'm hoping it will smooth out a little bit more before I'm ready to move it on. So I'm going to leave it in the drum for a little while longer. I'm just hoping it does not break. Let's see, some more red Jasper. Again, found this while I was rockhounding in Arizona. This is very close. This is very close. Now, how long you leave them in rough is completely up to you. If you want to go for completely super smooth rocks, which is not always possible because a lot of times they're full of cracks and pits, and if you tumble the ones off on the outside, you just expose new ones underneath. But, you know, the rock's going to keep getting smaller as long as you leave it in rough grit. So if you want to go for perfection, you're going to have to deal with small rocks, if you can ever get perfection out of them at all. If you're willing to put up with some minor cracks and pits and divots, then you can stop it earlier and move them on to the next grit. I think these might smooth out, so I'm going to leave this in here for another week or two. This is some banded iron. Ooh, get a bands of hematite in that. Wow. Yeah, it's not quite ready. I emptied this out last week, and I put a lot of rough stones in it, so we might not find too many in here that are ready to go. Yeah, some more banded iron, verging on banded chert, because there's not much hematite in it. Yeah, it's all rough right there, so that's got to go longer. Some kind of agate or jasper agate. Don't remember where I got it, but it's got a few rough spots, so it's got to go longer. A mossy piece of Jasper or Chert. Found this rockhounding in Wyoming. Look at the moss in that. Isn't that amazing? That's going to be gorgeous when it's done. I think it needs to go a little while longer. Hopefully this whole lobe won't break off and it'll just smooth out. Because if the lobe breaks off, it's definitely going to have to go longer to smooth out the break. But it's just a little too rough to move forward right now. Let's see. I think this is snakeskin agate found in Wyoming. It's just got a couple of little rough spots. Hopefully they will smooth out quickly. Let's see. This is a piece of Montana moss agate. This was a very irregular, broken Montana moss agate. I decided to tumble it rather than cut it. It's got some more of that cool moss in it, like the big one I showed you earlier, and some really big moss over here. This definitely is not ready to go, but this is a very hard agate. This is going to have to be in rough for a long time. Let's see, what's that? That's another piece of that Moroccan agate. Cool eye on it. Actually kind of looks like a feather. It's coming along, but it's not quite ready. I think this is Graveyard Point Plume I got from my buddy Jim. Oh, it's so close. It's just got a couple of divots in it that hopefully will smooth out in the next week or two. The heel off of some sort of agate I cut. Jasper agate. I can see it has some clear chalcedony in it, but it's got a lot of interesting jasper too. So that is coming right along. The backside would be a little bit smoother. I'd move it ahead, but it's going back in the tumbler drum. Some more banded iron formation down here. Oh, this is so close and so pretty. It's just got one little divot there. If I can smooth that divot out a little bit more, I'll move it ahead. This is a very hard rock. I'm not too worried about it getting too much smaller for another week or two in the tumbler drum. And again, some more banded iron. This has got a lot of hematite in it. One little minor divot. Yeah, just one little minor divot. I'm gonna run it for another week. Some more of that Moroccan agate that I'm tumbling. Pieces of it. It just fell apart. Ooh, look at that. Yeah, this is some colorful banded iron formation. Got some red, some yellow, some orange. Some of these have been in here for a long time because they're very hard and they're a little jagged. So this is going to take a while to clean up. I probably should have cut that area off and smoothed it out with my flat lap before I decided to tumble it. This area here is smoothing out nicely, but we're going to throw it back in the drum and hopefully in a week or two it will be a lot smoother. There's some Arizona petrified wood. Close but no cigar. Yeah, it's like I said, we probably won't find a lot of rocks in here that are ready to move forward. So far we only got 2. That's some more of that red Jasper. Again, so close. Maybe another week or 2. Woohoo! I do hope that pattern is showing up. It's hard to tell if I'm even in focus, but hopefully that pattern is showing up for you. And the colors, wow. Oh yeah. Again, very close, but not quite there. It's rough here, it's rough over here. Give it another week or 2. Some sort of Jasper Agate stuff. It's got a couple of rough areas, very close. Some of these are very close. I think the next clean out of the drum, a lot of these are going to move forward, but they're just not quite ready yet. Again, this is some colorful chert found in Wyoming. Very cool patterns to it. It's got a couple of deep pits over here. It's got a crack and some pits. I think that will mostly clean up, so we're going to run it a little while longer. This is some, I can't remember what my stepson called it. Some sort of mudstone from Wyoming. Crystal Mountain mudstone with druzy quartz is what he calls it. Although it doesn't just have druzy quartz in the bugs. It's got a lot of chalcedony in it too. And this piece, definitely not ready for prime time. I don't know if it's ever going to smooth out. We're going to throw it back in the drum and let it go some more. Let's see, here's some more Arizona petrified wood. This looks like stuff I picked up on my own property. I get a lot of this light gray color, but if you look close, you can see that there's wood grain in it, and there's other colors too. And it's got this white pearlescent crust on it from where it's been exposed to the weather. A little dot of yellow right there. I would say this one's actually ready to move forward. It's got a little concavity there, but that might smooth out in the finer grits with media. So I think we're going to move that forward. Another piece, pretty much the same thing. This one's not ready. It's too rough over here. Too rough right here. It's too rough right there. So that one's going back in the tumbler drum. This looks like some banded chert. Very dark color. Cool banding on it. I would say this one's ready. It's very smooth. That one's ready to go. Another piece. This one's ready too. Okay, so we're finding a few that are ready. Some more of the petrified wood. Yeah, I'm going to move this one forward. It's a little rough along this edge and on this edge, but it's also getting small and thin. And if I leave it in rough for too much longer, it's just going to break up probably. This all may all smooth out in like 220 with media rubbing against it. So we're going to move it forward. Whoa, yeah. That's some cool petrified wood. I found rockhounding in Arizona, a piece of it. I cut some in a previous cutting video. Again, I think this is ready. I think that's ready to move forward. Oh, the ones that are ready are all down on the bottom. That's weird. Yeah, this one's close to being ready. Another piece of banded iron. Close, but no cigar. And another piece of banded iron. This one's small, but mighty. It's got really great pattern on it. The hematite and the jasper. And I'm going to move it forward. I think it's ready. That's another piece of an agate that I cut in a previous cutting video. That is definitely not ready yet. Ditto that, I think. This actually might have been... Yeah, this is a piece of jasper I cut. And it's not ready. More petrified wood. It needs a little more time here. I mean, I'm never going to get rid of that, but unless I tumble the whole stone away to nothing. But it's also a little rough over here. If I can get that a little smoother, I'll move it forward. And I think this is more snakeskin agate from Wyoming, and this just needs a little more time. And then we're just down to some debris in the bottom of the colander. I'm going to throw that stuff out. All right, so let me show you what we got here. But in the end, here's what we got. All these rocks are going back for another week or 2 or 3 or months of rough tumbling until I'm satisfied with them. These rocks are the ones that are moving forward, including this very blue agate here. So those are moving forward. So I've got some room in here now since I've removed some rocks from it, and the rocks get smaller over time. So there's some room in here to add some more rocks to it before I get it started tumbling again. So let me find some rocks to put in, and we'll top it off. All right, I've got some rocks here. I got another half of an agate here. So we did so good tumbling the other one after getting the crust off. We'll see what this one looks like when the crust is gone. A piece of petrified wood from Wyoming. Another badly broken Montana moss agate. Let's see what it looks like after it's tumbled up. Some very colorful banded iron. Let me get it wet. Oh yeah, look at that. Very colorful. Get a good focus on it. See how that tumbles up. Some mystery agate. Don't remember where I got it. And some jasper I found in Wyoming. So this is all going in here. I'm going to add some water out of this bucket. And let me go get some grit, and we'll get it started. All right, let me get this back on the tumbler and get it spinning again. And as for these rocks that are ready to go forward, I'm going to give them a quick trip through my ultrasonic cleaner and then put them in my bucket of rocks ready to go to stage 2. And then when a tumbler becomes available, I will load some of these in that tumbler with some media, and they'll go on to stage 2, 3, polish, and then be done. So that's how I do that. All right, so here we go. And I will look at those rocks again in a week. So I hope you folks found this video on how I sort through the rocks in my rough tumbler over there interesting, educational, informative, inspirational, whatever. So give it a like, give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks a lot for watching this one. Bye.